Hey guys, today I'm going to create a diorama based on the poll I ran a couple months back, a diorama based in the Stephen King universe. As you saw, it's from a scene in the movie It Part 1 where the three doors are there with not scary at all, scary, and very scary. I really like the creepy feel of the scene, and with the window on the side, it gave a perfect opportunity for some nice light to come in for the photography. So I modeled these doors and 3D printed them, and then went ahead with a layer of Elmer school glue and then some paint from the airbrush on top immediately so that it cracks the paint underneath, like you can see here. The room had a specific type of wallpaper, and instead of trying to find something that would match, my wife drew it on her iPad and then tiled it so we could print it out like actual wallpaper. Here's the backside of one of the pieces of printed wallpaper, and I'm just marking out where to cut for the doors. To glue the wallpaper, I decided to use some watered down glue. There's probably a better way to do this, but this way gave it some wrinkles and pulled the paper a little bit, and so I thought that would actually look great for this haunted old house looking scene. And then I went ahead and glued the doors down. I used some super glue and super glue accelerator just to hold the corners down because these doors were kind of bending a little bit. So to do the writing, I started with a dark red marker so that I could get it outlined correctly. And then after that, I went in with a very fine brush and some Blood for the Blood God colored paint. I like using this every once in a while because it really looks like blood. I'm not showing it here, but with this paint, I was also able just to use my finger and smear it up a little bit to get that upside down blood dripping look. For the front of the diorama, I just put some wallpaper down and then mitered some pieces of trim, and I'm going to paint those and just glue those in place. These little pieces of trim are for the wall between the doors, and they need to be the same color, so I'm putting glue down and then airbrushing the color over so they're also cracked paint. Now for the window. In the scene, it looked like there was some shears, there was some broken blinds, and it looked like it was boarded up from the outside a little bit as well. So I started putting this real thin tulle fabric on a piece of styrene, glued it in place so it had some folds to it, and then glued it down to the bottom so it stayed put. Then I put some boards on the back so it was like it was a boarded up window, and then used some ink in the airbrush to just dirty up that fabric. For some pieces of broken blinds, I took some thin styrene and started hot gluing them in place. Here I just wanted the doors to stand out a little bit from the door frame on the 3D print, so I'm using a very, very thin Sharpie and outlining it. For the floor, I started with my tile grout and started sprinkling some dirt as well, some peat moss that I ground in an old coffee grinder, and then I started painting these little pieces of wood and rubbish that I'll scatter around. Here I tried a couple different things to make some cobwebs, and as you'll see later, I didn't like how this turned out. I used a little bit of polyfill and the hot glue technique, decided to rip it all out and made it much more minimal. So here's where I added it back in. I just put some hot glue down, pulled some strings out right to the wall, and it does make a pretty good look, but it's hard. And then as always, painted the outside black, and here are the finished shots. As always, thanks for watching, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see future projects. Thanks.